Greetings. This is Justin Allen with the Elite Nurse Practitioner. Welcome to the Elite Nurse Practitioner Show, podcast dedicated to nurse practitioner entrepreneurism and achieving financial freedom, where I talk directly with nurse practitioners who need help. Listen up, our market is saturated. Jobs can be scarce. We are underpaid. We are undervalued. We are taken advantage of by the sharks within the healthcare system, and frankly, screw that. Sick of it, and it's time for a change. And listen, I'm here to help make that happen. We are powerful. We can forge a path where we are in control of our career and ultimately our financial and personal well-being. You do not need to submit to healthcare administrators and your doctor overlords. You do not have to take the measly salary. You do not have to work 50 to 60 hours a week. There is a different way, and I'm here to show you that path. This podcast is raw and unfiltered. I have not talked to the nurse practitioners in this podcast prior to the call outside of an email exchange to schedule the episode. What you're about to listen to is a consultation session between a nurse practitioner and myself. It is real, it is unscripted, it is unplanned, and I have no idea what we're going to talk about. Anything and everything can happen during our conversation. The nurse practitioners in these episodes are struggling with an issue in their professional or financial life, and they have reached out to me for help. My goal is to help the nurse practitioner with actionable advice that will enhance and improve their professional, business, and financial life. My other goal is to hopefully help my nurse practitioner sisters and brothers build a more productive, powerful, and free life. So I hope the content and information within these podcast episodes does just that. All right, onto the episode. Hello, everyone. Today we'll be talking to Eric, who is a family nurse practitioner. Currently, he is working as a labor and delivery nurse full-time, but has been a licensed family nurse practitioner for a year. He is having issues securing employment as a nurse practitioner, as he is also getting a nice loan reimbursement, still working as a nurse. He is wanting to achieve financial freedom at an accelerated rate, so he is wanting to start his own practice and is considering a men's health clinic. Hey, Eric, how are you?
Good. How are you, Justin?
I'm good, man. Thanks for hopping on here. So let's go ahead and get started. I haven't talked to very many working RNs. I know everyone listening to this is, an RN as well, but also a nurse practitioner. So curious to hear your story on how you became a nurse practitioner, but you're still working as a nurse. So if you want to just give us some background on kind of just, where you're at in life.
Sure. I am a U.S. veteran. I always wanted to be a nurse. They wouldn't let me align with that. So after lots of years, I decided to take the plunge, and I went and got my BSN. I have been a nurse for 10 years. In those 10 years, went back for my master's in nursing with a focus in nursing education, thinking, that's a good avenue for advancement too. And then just some kind of conflict at work, and it forced me to say, I really kind of want to be my own boss. And I went forward and got my NP degree about a year ago. I graduated over a year ago. I passed my boards a year ago, coming up this month, actually. And in the same time that I graduated, there's a HRT award that if you meet certain requirements will help repay back your student loans. And I'm sure you know this, or most people do. You get your bachelor's degree, you get your master's, and then you get your NP. And by the time you look back, you've got $160,000 worth of school debt. So it was a great thing because all you have to do is maintain your same role that you win the award in. You don't have to do anything extra other than work full time in your current role, and you get a 60% of your loan repayment back to you. All loans, there's no stipulation on which loans you can apply to it. And then there's an optional third year that most people do get that pays you an additional 25% of not the remaining balance, but of the original balance. Let's say like I finished my NP degree during the award, I could still add some of those on the end too. So that 25% really can be somewhat exponential based on what that remaining balance is when you reapply for that 1 year.
Yeah.
So I've been kind of stuck because, I've got my RN pay, which is pretty decent. And then on top of that, I've got this $80,000 award. And then I work nights. That's a big challenge too. And finding a new grad position that's either PRN or willing to like work with you schedule wise, or
Yeah,
that has been challenging.
yeah, it's pretty much impossible. You're not going to find really a whole lot.
No,
Yeah,
I haven't. I've gone on interviews. I've done interviews. I've gotten some offers from med spas that have kind of fallen through. So I'm kind of at the point where I'm just like, I've told myself 2024 is my year of just kind of some financial freedom and some income success.
Yep.
And that's kind of my mantra every day. And I've been a huge fan of yours for quite a while. I love all your resources for NPs. It's amazing how much free stuff you put out. And, I just recently purchased some of your courses and I'm halfway through the men's health and the weight loss one. And they're excellent. They're excellent resources for NPs.
Yeah, awesome. Well, I'm glad you're liking it, and I'm glad everything's helping you out. I'm glad that you kind of came to a realization early in your career that you really need to start your own thing if you want, any kind of financial freedom. I mean, there's no freedom in working for someone full time until you're, in your late 50s, early 60s, contributing to a 401k, and that's just the bullshit that modern society and the establishment want to tell you to do. It's not a
100%.
Yeah, it's just it's nonsense. It's not a way to live, dude. I mean, I've said this multiple times. As a healthcare provider, as a nurse, we see how fragile life can really be, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, we see how short life can be sometimes for some people, and people listening to this podcast right now. Some of you might be dead in 2 or 3 years, like it's a possibility. Like you could get some crazy cancer, or you could get hit by a car. Like, life is short. Don't take it for granted. And this whole work until you're 65 nonsense is
No,
bullshit.
thank you.
No, thank you.
The funny thing is, Justin, I recently read a book and it talked about seeing your life in thirds. And so it led to say, like, where are you in your third? And I'm in my last third, and I want it to be good and free. And I 100%, I could be dead when I walk out this door today to work. So yeah,
right.
I don't want to be working till I'm 65. Part of the thing too is I listen to your podcast, and I'm one of the things you say is like the prime time to kind of get your business started is like in your like late 20s, 30s. I'm in my mid 40s, so
okay,
I'm a little behind, but
fine.
I'm a hard worker, and I am determined to do this to get that freedom that I want for the rest of my third.
Yeah. Yeah. Listen, man, I mean, I've achieved a sense of financial freedom. And I'm 39 years old. Okay. Like, I mean, I really could, if I wanted to, I could stop everything I'm doing and probably be fine. Because I have some other income streams that I do, some other stuff that I play around with, but like it's achievable. I mean, I went from being in debt, student loans, mortgages, credit cards, car loans, all this shit. I was no different than anyone else. If you factored in my student loans, let's say all my debts except for my mortgage, okay? I mean, I was easily in, $150,000 in debt, easy, something like that.
That was my school loans.
That was your school loans, right? So you went into a little more debt than I did with school, but you're getting a large chunk of it paid off, But
yes, it's a blessing. Yeah.
Yeah, but I was there. No, 2017, 2018. Okay, I was there working for people, shit ton of debt, contributing to a 401k, not really getting ahead all that much. You know what I mean? And it's 2023 now, and like I said, I have a form of financial freedom at this point in my life. So that was achieved in 6 years. Okay. So it's possible. You're in your mid 40s. Dude, by the time you're 50, 55, you should be able to have some sort of form of financial freedom if you do things right. Okay. So
that's actually that's 100% my goal. By 50, I want, So one of the cool things about, and some people say, well, why are you staying in this, why are you staying in the loan repayment program? You're now a, FNP and you're board certified. Our hospital looked at what they could do for retention and what they could do for market value. And at our hospital, I'll talk about me. Most nurses, but myself included, got a 20-ish% raise within the last maybe 2 months. It's huge for a lot of nurses. You're talking about where I'm probably making more than what I would as a starter NP.
Sure.
And they just keep kind of throwing money at people because they know that retention is an issue post-COVID, COVID burnout, all that stuff. I saw COVID as a blessing as far as becoming financially free from debt, but a lot of people got burnout, and they were, across the nation, right? Retention is an issue. So yeah, they just keep throwing money at nurses, and the rate is at my facility is pretty high here in Massachusetts. So it's kind of tough. It's kind of tough.
Yeah. Yeah. You make more money as an RN. I mean, I know a lot of NPs that make more as an RN and they still work as an RN and then work a little bit as an NP. Like it's kind of ridiculous, honestly.
Yeah.
But it is what it is. The whole student loan repayment thing. I have two thoughts on that. The first thought is that it's great. It's a great way to get your student loans paid off. Okay.
Yeah.
But it unfortunately does kind of lock you into something for a while, right?
Ultimately 3 years. Yeah.
Yeah, 3 years, right? So you have to think about the opportunity cost of this.
Okay.
What's the opportunity loss of that? You're staying here for 3 years, okay? For them to pay off $60,000, $70,000 of student loan debt or whatever, right? So that's something like, let's just call it like $25,000 a year student loan repayment, okay? And you're locked in.
Yeah.
That's about right. Yeah. Okay.
No, so it's about, if I accept the three, well, I just want to say I have 18 months left.
Okay.
So with the culmination of all 3 years, the repayment will be about 120,000.
Okay. And how much will you have left on your student loans?
So at the end of the 3 years, I'll have 15 months for student loan forgiveness. So by 50, I'll have, which is 3 years away, I will have 2 years, 2.5 years. I will have no school debt is the ideal thing. So kind of what I'm thinking is, if I start this men's health now while I'm locked into this HRSA award, by the time it's done and I have loan forgiveness from the government, I'll have a nice niche thing that'll be a relatively somewhat passive income.
Right. Okay. So, but just think about the opportunity loss, the amount of time you're spending still working over here, making, less money than you that you potentially could with your own business or whatever with that time. And, I've thought about, loan reimbursement programs and all this stuff, but like the amount of money I was making through my men's health clinic, my medical cannabis clinic, I was like, doesn't make any sense for me to go do this loan repayment thing. I'm making more money through my business. I'll just pay my student loans off myself because it made more sense and I was able to do it faster than a loan reimbursement program because of the opportunity that I had with my business, investing into my business and working my ass off and making a lot of money, right? I would never have been able to do that if I was stuck in a job for loan reimbursement. So I just want you to just be aware of that. You have 18 months left, for $120,000 repayment. That's a lot of money. I think it'd be foolish to stop, So just be aware of that. Once it's said and done at that, 18 months from now, you have another 1.5 year commitment to just completely forgive all of it. So, you're gonna have to just cross that bridge when you get to it. Is it worth staying another 1.5 years to be completely forgiven? Or am I making enough money through my men's health clinic or my business or whatever? Like, God, if I just put more time in my business, I can make a shit ton more money. I don't need your loan reimbursement anymore. I'm out. You know what I mean?
So I guess one of the things I lacked in mentioning is that it's contractual.
Right. Like you have to stay.
I have to. Yeah. I can't choose to not take it. Yeah. I've already signed a contract with, the government. They're going to get their money back if you break that contract. So
right.
So I will say this: 6 months. 6 months are left of the initial contract, and then in 2 months or so, I have to decide if I want that additional 12 months of another contract.
Gotcha. Okay. So just be cautious going into that. Okay. Because like I said, you could make more money with that time that you're spending working through there. You can make a lot more money putting that time and effort into something else, probably. Okay.
Absolutely.
Or potentially. Okay. So just kind of keep that in mind. So anyways, though, okay. So you're going to be working as an RN. That's going to be paying for life. That's going to be paying for your bills, et cetera, your student loan payments, all that kind of stuff. So you have an income source there, right? Yeah. So you can live off that. You'll be good on that, right?
Yeah. I'm a paycheck to paycheck, put a little bit away kind of nurse, but yes.
Yeah. Okay. You could cut back a little bit if you needed to.
100%.
100%. Okay. So then you're going to have, how many days a week are you going to have to be able to really, dedicate towards your business?
So I assume most full-time positions for nurses, I work 3 days a week. So I'm off of 4. So I always like to say that, one of those days is kind of a throwaway day because you're getting home at 8, 9 o'clock in the morning, and you're sleeping, but I take advantage of all my awake hours at night. So if I have to do legwork in evening hours, I'm willing to do that. But most of the days I am off. I'd say I have 3 full days off a week where I'm, full advantage of those 3 days. I work 3 nights, and I got maybe like a toss away day in there somewhere for recuperation. Yeah.
So you have time. I mean, you have time here. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. So you got time. You have some money. I mean, everything seems to be working in your favor here. So, So I guess tell me about your idea. What are you wanting to do specifically?
Yeah. So I've like just listening to your podcasts and you always talk about like anybody can start a business with 10K.
Yeah.
I've got that 10K, already. I am frugal with my monies because I'm somebody who just grew up super, super poor, and it's like having money in the bank is like a safety net. You feel safe, right? And it's a false sense of safety, but
dude, I'm with you. I will always feel poor. I just grew up poor. That's just how it is.
Exactly. Same. Yeah. No matter what I can buy, I feel poor, but I have the 10K. I'm willing to take that risk I have no issues with that. I am thinking about opening a small men's health practice to start. I would love to do testosterone replacement, weight loss, and maybe just a little bit of the aesthetic stuff is okay, but I really love how you kind of rehomed in a lot of your recent podcasts. And I think you've said it's a lot of work. And when I graduated, I was like, yeah, I'm going to do aesthetics. It's easy money. It's big money for quick turnaround, but you're right. It's so hands-on. None of it is passive. Whereas, just listening to your other courses, it's a lot of passive income, especially with like your subscription-based models and stuff like that. So that's where I'm kind of leaning towards, just opening something where I can do, at least in the beginning, testosterone and weight loss. I think that those are the first 2 things I would love to focus on.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, hormone replacement therapy, weight loss, basically anything that doesn't really require a whole lot of hands-on work for you. I mean, that's really what you want to focus on.
Yeah. Sure.
Yeah. I mean, aesthetics is one of those things that, you could make good money doing it, but you better enjoy doing it. Like it better be one of those things that you just enjoy doing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. IV infusion, it's so much work. It's late income. I mean, what's so fun about starting an IV, hanging bads and mixing stuff? I don't think that's very fun.
I will say this, Justin. I love doing IVs. On my unit, I am like, they're like, hey, if I'm charged, I'm tossing in 4 or 5 because people just they're not confident in their skill set. I love it. I think it's so cool that we can put a tiny little tube in someone's vascular system, infuse fluids. It's probably weird to some people, but I love that part. But I've already taken the IV course, not yours, because this is prior to knowing that you offered all these courses. Or me finding you. This is a couple years ago, because initially I was going to graduate, do an IV therapy mobile business. And the amount of work that mixing bags and buying things.
It's busy work. It's a lot of busy work,
Right. And it's one person at a time too. I think about like the mobile aspect of it is, and you've said this in a lot of your podcasts, like how many people can you actually see in that 1 hour versus a brick and mortar? You're traveling, you're doing your treatment, then moving on to the next one. So yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. There's just no way to make a lot of money doing that. You're just not going to. Like, yeah. Yeah. Okay. So HRT weight loss. I mean, that's a good move. So tell me about, what are you thinking here? So you're going to do like a brick and mortar. Do you have any kind of spaces that you're looking at?
So I kind of done a soft look on spaces. There are spaces anywhere from $600 to $1,500, and that's subjective on the area that you're hoping to get into, and the I guess the niceness of the space. Where I live here in Western Mass, it's kind of a tricky. Like we have the town I live in, the median average salary or income is like 60,000. I think 40,000 on the low end. Our population is 165,000 just for my city, and then the surrounding cities are kind of like we've got quite a few towns right next door that are what we would consider higher income. And that's where you're seeing like the upscale boutiques and stuff like that and aesthetic practices. So I was thinking something in between there. And I can't find any men's health clinics in the area. Like, I mean, none. I don't know if maybe I'm not looking appropriately, but I'm not finding any. I'm finding the closest ones are Rhode Island, New Hampshire, and Connecticut. And even the Connecticut one is probably a good 45 minutes to an hour from here.
So, I mean, if there's no competition, dude, I mean, it's almost going to be just a no-brainer.
Yeah. I am seeing that there's weight loss through aesthetics. Obviously they are, but they're not, I don't think they're doing, they're probably doing like lab work and stuff like that. But they're not, the majority of them are not NPs. They're mostly RNs. Not that there's anything wrong with that. It's mostly aesthetic practices that are doing like the weight loss, Botox. But I can't find any hormone therapy replacement that's outside of a primary care physician or otherwise. But I don't see any men's health clinics per se. Yeah, none. I've looked for a couple weeks. I can't find any that are local here that are coming up in Google searches that aren't, the standard paid ads that are the like online services. Those come up, but like brick and mortars locally, I'm not seeing them come up.
Gotcha. You should be okay. I mean, it sounds like you should have an opportunity here to probably have a successful business, I would think. So yeah. I mean, dude, if there's really no competition in the area, very little competition in the region, it's a practical guarantee. I mean, people want these services. They just do. Like, it doesn't matter where you're at in the country. People are people. It doesn't matter what country you go to. People are people. They want this stuff,
I agree with you. Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you think I'm looking incorrectly or I'm searching incorrectly? Because, Massachusetts is obviously a huge area and a huge state. And, we've got Boston and stuff like that. But when I type in men's health clinic, I type in testosterone replacement therapy near me, TRT. The closest ones I am getting are border states for the most part.
Right. So men's health clinic, weight loss clinic, testosterone clinic, testosterone doctor. Like, if you just use these keywords, get on Google Maps and just start typing in those keywords,
Yeah,
dude, that's a pretty damn accurate way to do some market research.
Okay. Yeah. I've been looking. Yeah.
Yeah. Who's not on Google anymore?
I know.
Fool not to. And if you have competition that's not, I wouldn't worry about that competition because they're idiots.
Yeah. Most of the weight loss ones, there are a few weight loss clinics, and they're out of primary care physician's office. There's one that's relatively popular in the town, but it's one person. And, I think with our population base, I think there's plenty of room for growth for other providers.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So, dude, it sounds like you're sitting on a potential gold mine here. So yeah, brick and mortar location. I mean, the same thing I talk about in all the other podcasts. Just make sure you just have some roadside visibility. I think that's so important. If you
Okay.
don't have the money for it, then some little more, a more hole in the wall kind of place is fine.
Hmm.
You'll be on Google, you'll do some advertising, that kind of stuff. People will find you, they'll come to you. But if you can just pay a few $100s more a month, or even $500 more a month, and be on a main road, have roadside frontage, it's worth the extra cost because people will walk in.
Okay.
So yeah, so just be aware of that. I think that if you can find a solid spot on a main road, a busy road, or in front of a Walmart or something like that, it's a no-brainer. I mean, you're gonna get just walk-in traffic. You know what I mean? So
Sure. And
yeah,
I'm all on board with, between my military career and becoming a nurse, I did sales for 7 years. I hate sales, but everybody is a salesman at the end of the day. Um,
yep.
I'm not scared to get into these like gyms, local gyms and private gyms, and maybe get an ad or do a deal, barter with the owner.
Yeah,
Y-
dude.
Yeah, to get some, they're on the treadmill and they see my ad. I that's got to drive some revenue for
Yeah.
our our gym folks. Yeah.
Yeah, just get
So
out there.
yeah.
It's get out there, spread the word. Like I don't know how many NPs I consult with that aren't getting any patients. I'm like, what do you like? They're not going out. Like I'm sorry, and I'll say this. Like, if you want to start your own business, you better be okay with sales.
You
Having your
got to
own
do it.
business, you're a salesman. You're a salesman for your business.
Yeah.
Just part of it.
Being a nurse in general, I tell our younger nurses, I'm like, at the end of the day, you're a salesman because you have to sell safety, you have to sell your experience, you have to sell that you know what you're talking about in your specialty. You have to sell treatments to the patient based on safety and protocols and guidelines and necessity. At the end of the day, there's no difference. You
There's
just have
no there really isn't.
to. Yeah, there
Yeah.
isn't. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
You need this IV to save your life, right? I'm selling you the IV because I need to save your life at the end of the day. It's,
Right.
yeah.
Right. It's very
Just read
similar.
that. Yeah, very similar.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, cool, man. Yeah. So if you're willing to get out there and spread the word, then you know, patients will come, right? So I think your biggest expense here, with opening a brick and mortar practice, your biggest expense is obviously going to be, first month's rent,
Yeah.
security deposits, doing any kind of remodeling inside, painting it, etc. Those costs, it's going to add up pretty quick, so you know, you're probably going to end up spending between $5,000 to $7,500 just from the start getting the place ready.
I
Okay.
figured. Yeah.
Yeah, it's about how much it's going to cost. My second men's health practice cost me about $7,500 to get it set up and to get it going. Okay, that's how much it cost. So it can be done, and then the rest of it's going to be just for some initial supplies, etc. 10,000 is a good starting number. Prices have gone up, across the board for multiple things, especially like malpractice insurance. I don't know what the hell's happened in the last year about malpractice, but like I feel like it's almost doubled in price. It's ridiculous. You're gonna spend a couple $1,000 just for your malpractice insurance policy. Potentially up to $3,000 or $4,000 for it, depending on your state.
For the year.
For the year, correct.
Yeah.
It's expensive, dude, but you have to have it. So $10,000 is a reasonable number to get started, but you're probably going to spend more than that. So just be okay with walking into this and your $10,000 budget kind of just goes over budget. Okay, like
Yeah.
just be okay with it. Plan for it. All right.
Absolutely.
Plan for setting aside another $5,000 to $10,000. Dumping another $5,000 to $10,000 of your own money into it during the first couple months. It just is what it is. All right. I hope everyone's enjoying the episode so far. I just wanted to take a quick break to thank everyone listening and also give a big thank you to all of my social media followers and email subscribers. If you haven't done so yet, please subscribe to our email list at www.elitenp.com and make sure to follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn. Email subscribers will receive updates on new weekly podcast episodes, multiple weekly articles we publish, new courses, and everything else related to helping you succeed. Remember, all Elite Nurse Practitioner courses are designed to help you build a niche practice, increase your financial strength, and to break free from the rat race. If I can break free and the other countless nurse practitioners can break free, then so can you. Additionally, please share this podcast with your other nurse practitioner sisters and brothers out there. The more NPs that venture out on their own, the stronger our profession will become. Now, let's get back to the episode.
What do you think is a good time frame to see a return? And I'm not talking about profit. Talking about like 7,500 to 10,000 to get up and started. Maybe another. Let's just be on the conservative side. Another 5,000 out of pocket. We're 15,000 in. What do you think is a good time frame to start seeing that you're covering basic expenses?
Yeah. So the original $15,000 investment you'll make into it, you should make that back within the first 6 months. Okay. Yeah. So you should make back that initial investment after that, right? Then anything after that's just, pure profit. So for your clinic to actually start really paying for itself, so you're not dumping any more money into it, more of like a break even, you really should be there in 3 or 4 months.
Gotcha.
You should, like the people coming in, the patients coming in, et cetera, they should be paying for your rent, your utilities, supplies, stuff like that at the 3 to 4 month mark. Okay. If you hit the 3 or 4 month mark and you're essentially on autopilot, you're doing good. Okay. If the 4 month mark comes around and you're still having to dump your own money into it, something's not right. You're spending too much money on something, or you're just not getting enough patients. That's really what it's going to come down to. So you just need to step back and then be like, okay, what's the issue here? Why am I not, why isn't my business paying for itself yet? Okay. 6 to 12 months is when you really should start making that profit.
Making that money. Okay.
Yeah. And I always tell people between the 6 to 12 month mark, if things are stagnant, you're not making any money, you're still dumping money into it.
Get out.
Get out. Yeah, seriously, something's wrong. Like maybe business just isn't for you. Like there are just some people out there that are, I hate to say it, they're idiots. Like they're idiots with business. They might be a great nurse. They might be a great nurse practitioner. They might have the best bedside manner in the world, but sometimes you're just bad at business. You just can't manage money right, So, but yeah, 6 to 12 months. I would say at the 6 month mark, be concerned. Okay, what the hell am I doing wrong? What's the issue here? Pivot, change your services, change your marketing strategies, cut costs, do whatever you got to do. But then at the 12 month mark, if you're still not making any money, you're still putting your own money into it. There's nothing wrong with saying, you know what, I gave it a shot. Let's just close this down. Let's try something else. I've done it.
Okay. Fair. And what do you think about the TRT and the weight loss as a subscription model or a per month model?
With HRT, it needs to be on a subscription monthly model.
Okay.
Weight loss, I like the monthly model as well. But with weight loss, patients might only be on treatment for you for like 6 months.
Okay.
Once they lose their weight, they're kind of just done, right? So some patients will be with you for 6 to 12 months. Some patients will be with you just for 3 months. So with weight loss, it's one of those things that you can price it per product kind of a thing and still do well. Like, a vial of semaglutide or tirzepatide, it's going to cost you, let's just say, just for easy math, it's going to cost you $150. So you could charge a patient $300 for it, and you just charge them per vial based on their dose. And, just include the visits with that price. So like, let's just say you prescribe them 5 milligrams of tirzepatide and they need a refill every month and a half, and you're charging $500 for that refill or whatever. You know what I mean? And just include the follow-up visit with that price. Like, I wouldn't sit there and be like, okay, now we need to charge you for the time for the visit. Now we need to charge you for this or that. Just make it an all-inclusive price. Call it a day.
My goal is to hope to make it all inclusive, make it cash business. And then, insurance, the only thing I probably foresee them using would be for labs,
just
send in their
Exactly.
lab order and let them use their insurance, but everything else would be cash based.
Exactly. Yeah. 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 Avoid the insurance, man, if you can.
Yeah, I've listened to your podcast. Literally, I drive to work. I listen to your podcast. I get my hour break at work. I listen to your podcast. Yeah, I'm very much on your mindset of, and I hear the things you tell people who are trying to do just insurance based, and very few of them have been really successful.
No,
Yeah.
no, no. Yeah. And now,
So
yeah,
thank
I know some people who have insurance based practices that do really, really well.
Oh yeah, I've heard them on your podcast.
Yeah,
100%.
but it's a completely different kind of business. Like,
Agreed. And I don't want to go through the certification process that, that alone is like 6 to 8 months just to
yeah,
yeah, no, thank you.
it's a pain in the ass.
Yeah.
Like,
No, thanks.
yeah. And the only way you make money with an insurance based practice is you just got to churn patients out. You got to bill for those visits. That's a
Yeah.
lot of work, and it's shitty patient care.
Yeah, exactly. It's not my thing. If I can make some money on seeing two patients with PRT and weight loss and still be banking cash in an hour, which I think we could probably see more than that, especially with like follow-up calls being via like telehealth.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'd rather do that, and have that kind of model.
100%, man. Yeah. But yeah, in terms of lab work goes, yeah, let them use your insurance for lab work. I mean, you can make money with labs. Don't get me wrong. You can. Okay. You can use like Access Medical Labs, just let them know that you're with a lead NP. And they're going to give you some pretty significant discounts on cash-based labs. Okay. Just call Access Medical Labs and just tell them you're with the lead NP and they're going to give you the cash price. And it's very, very reasonable. You're talking about $110 for a comprehensive initial men's health panel that includes the hormones, CBC, CMP, TSH, A1C,
Oh, okay.
IGF. I mean, it's a significant, it's dirt cheap. And I tell patients all the time, you're probably not going to find a better deal if you just pay cash for your blood work because your insurance might pay for it. But if they don't, you're going to get a nasty bill from the lab company for $1,000 or whatever the hell it is.
Yeah.
And I can't do anything for you about that.
Yeah. So do you build the member? You pay up front for the labs and then just
You
build
pay,
it?
yeah. So if you sign up with Access Medical Labs, tell them with your lead NP, they're going to give you all these discount lab panels. If you go to the lead NP website and click discount labs in the navigation bar,
Yep.
it's right there for you.
Okay.
And you basically you'll order the panel that you want. Access will then just bill your card, the $105, $110, whatever it is. And then you pay for the labs up front, and the patient basically pays you whatever you want to charge them. I mark it up maybe like 1.5x or something. I don't mark it up a lot because I don't like nickel and diming people. I just don't. That's not my business. Okay. A lot of people, that's their business. They mark up shit ridiculous amounts of money and whatever. It is what it is. But like if it costs me $100, I charge them $150.
Yeah, I would
You
totally
know?
do the same thing because if I'm going to draw their labs too, right? There's something to be said about the service,
Sure,
the,
absolutely.
the supplies that you're using
Yeah.
to collect the labs and pay
A
for.
100%. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
And even charging $200, doubling it is
Yeah,
still a good deal for the patient and you make some money,
for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's kind of how I go with that. So, any other questions, in terms of like, the pricing structure?
More so about and I just may have not gotten to this section yet, and I'm preemptively asking you this question is when you do the compounding pharmacies and you get these meds, are you keeping stock in-house to do treatments, or are these going straight to the member from the compounding pharmacy? Are they picking up from you? Like, are they coming in and picking up their whole bottle of testosterone or weight loss meds for the month?
The majority of the meds are going to be coming from the compounding pharmacy. They just get shipped directly to the patient.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't like being the middleman of it with it. It's a pain in the ass. They ship it to you, then you got to store it, and the patient got to come pick it up. Like, why give yourself extra work? Like the
Okay.
shipping
Yeah.
costs the same at the end of the day,
Yeah.
So So yeah, I just have it shipped directly to the patient's
Okay.
house. Now,
Okay.
there are some medications that you can buy bulk that it's cheaper just to buy them bulk and dispense from your practice. If your state allows a nurse practitioner to dispense medications from their practice, there are some medications that you should dispense from your practice because it's cheap. Okay.
Okay.
Like meds like, okay, ED meds, for example. Okay. Viagra, Cialis, right? The generics. You can buy those bottles from a pharmaceutical distributor, like McKesson, Henry Schein, et cetera, for $5, $10 a bottle. They cost nothing. And then you just give it to the patient, charge them $100 for it. It's crazy markups, you know?
Gotcha.
Yeah, like B12 vials. Don't order B12 in the compounding pharmacy. You can
No,
just order that.
no, yeah.
Yeah, like there's like a Nestrozol for Men's Health, for example. Okay, the aromatase inhibitor. All right. Most guys don't need it. Some guys do. I don't care who says what in the Men's Health space and other providers. I don't care what they say. A Nestrozol is necessary for some guys. Some guys' estrogen levels spike through the roof and they feel like shit. You give them a Nestrozol, their symptoms magically go away. All right.
Gotcha.
Yeah, it's necessary for some patients. It just is. So you can buy a bottle of Nestrozol from a pharmaceutical distributor for like $3 for a bottle of 30 of them. I don't even charge patients for it. I just give it. I just give it to them. I don't care. It's $3. So there are some meds that you can dispense from your practice if your state allows it.
Yeah, Massachusetts. When I checked earlier today, we can administer, prescribe, and procure only. We can't dispense. Is not
Just
in our.
can't dispense. Okay.
Not yeah, and yeah.
Now, sometimes there's some rules in that you can dispense like 3 days worth or 7 days worth or something.
Oh, okay.
Sometimes, okay, I don't know about that state specifically, but sometimes there are some like you can give like a 7-day supply or whatever. Okay, fine. Here's an Nestrozol 1 milligram daily for 7 days. Wink, wink. Only take it once a week.
Gotcha.
Right.
Yeah, and this is a full practice state only. But you have to put in your 2 years prior to being full scope. So.
Gotcha.
I'll obviously need a
Right.
collaborator for 2 years.
Right. Yeah. You'll need to pay someone, to do nothing.
Yeah. I already got a quote. I've gotten 2 quotes, and it's been anywhere from 700 to 1,000, and I don't know what makes the difference. I think it's maybe from collaborators. I want to check out the collaborator. I just listened to your collaborator podcast with is it Guardian? No.
Yeah.
Guardian.
Yeah, they're gonna charge you $700. It's gonna be at the same price. Okay. Yeah. If you can find someone local, that will work with you, be like, hey, listen, I'm just getting started. I have 0 patients. Why should I pay you $1,000 a month if I see 5 patients my first month? That's ridiculous. So you might be able to find someone more local who understands, who might work with you. You know what I mean? Yeah, that might be like, okay, pay me a couple $100 for the first month or 2 until you start getting busy. And then we can talk about increasing it as you get busier. You know what I mean? There's a lot of cool doctors out there that'll do that kind of thing for you,
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Do you feel like I really like that Mantra EMR?
Yeah, works good.
Do you feel like, is that what you use or?
It's fine. I don't use it right now. I started with Simple Practice. We just got to a point, after you have a few hundred patients, changing EMRs and stuff is just such a pain in the ass.
Gotcha.
So I haven't transferred to them just because I don't want to transfer everything. Like we know this EMR, and I'm not saying you need to use Simple Practice. I'm not telling anyone they need to use Simple Practice.
Sure.
That's what I use. It works for us. OptiMantra. If I was starting brand new, I would go with OptiMantra. It's a better EMR. It just is.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, that's I appreciate that because
yeah.
I know you say, you don't, I've heard in your podcast, you don't even need that, just do paper charting, but I think I just want something that manages care easy, like being able to send labs, being able to like keep somebody's chart easy, chart quick. And I'm not having to secure these files somewhere.
Yeah. If you were on a real strict budget, then paper charting is fine.
Yeah, I agree with you.
But if you're really not, then, pay the $90 a month for Optimantra.
That's what I was going to say. Yeah. $90 a month. Yeah, exactly.
Right.
I
And you
drink
can even
Starbucks.
do your own EMR. I've talked to this, I've talked about to some entrepreneurs that they just use Google Docs. Like, just create a Google Doc folder and put some docs in, and just make your own EMR. It's like, you don't got to complicate this, especially for a cash-based practice. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So don't complicate. But Optimantra, fine.
Do you feel like when you're doing your TRT patients, do you feel like you have a high volume of patients that are turned away because they may not meet like clinical symptoms or the labs that
Well,
merit?
yeah. I mean, I don't treat everyone who walks in the door,
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, sometimes you get a patient who has a baseline testosterone level of 1,000. You're like,
Bye.
dude, your symptoms aren't from low testosterone, man.
Check your thyroid. Yeah.
Right. Or exactly. Well, and that's why you check all those other things during the initial panel, right? You want to rule out hypothyroidism. Like, if someone comes in, they come in fatigued and they're hypothyroid, they probably don't need testosterone. Try some Synthroid first for a little while,
100%, because the symptoms are similar. They mask each other in same way.
Right. Any other questions? Anything else you want to talk about?
I don't think so. I think I had another question in here. So I did have are all states that your first visit has to be in person for these types of practices?
No, the telemedicine laws right now are still kind of up in the air.
Okay.
The DEA, so November 2024 is when they're basically going to be revisiting the Ryan Height Act, and do we need to see people in person, et cetera. I mean, it still seems like it's still in the air. You can still see patients via just video chat or whatever and start them on treatment, but it looks like starting November 2024, you can do that, but you only give them a 30-day supply, and then you have to see them in person. But with telemedicine clinics doing this for the last 4 years, the DEA retracting now and putting in the old restrictions seems dumb to me. We have 4 years of safety data now, Right. So I'm under the opinion that they'll probably be a little bit more lenient with it, or it'll be up to the states. And then I figure the states will probably just default to federal DEA regulation. So,
okay. Do you think that, well, it's kind of like a two-part question here. Do you do a initial visit consultation that has a fee related to it? And as a follow-up, can that be done as a telehealth if you do it?
I'd say that one more time. I was confused with the first part.
Yep. Do you do an initial visit, like an initial consult visit with a fee to see if they qualify, all that good stuff?
Yeah, I got it. Okay, so just basically just a fee for your time to talk with them. Yeah. Yes. Yeah. So $200 basically. $200 for the initial consult. And that includes the first month of treatment as well. If they do not qualify for treatment, then basically, I try to give them their money's worth. I'll give them some B12 or, some Tadalafil, something. I don't want them to walk away with nothing, basically.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah. So
you need not necessarily a refund, but you make the visit.
I'm not giving them a refund. I mean, I spend an hour of my time going over their labs and their issues and problems and stuff. Sorry, it was an hour of my time, So I will still charge them, but I will make sure they get their money's worth. I'm going to give them or do something for them.
Gotcha.
Vitamin injection, ED meds, diet, exercise program. I mean, I'm going to do something for them, basically.
Gotcha. Yeah. Right. Yeah. Fair. So when someone contacts, maybe I just missed this part in the lessons, but when someone contacts you for starting up any of these, is the first thing you do send them their labs to get the labs done before the consult, or do you do the consult and then do the labs?
Always do the labs before.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Your goal is to optimize your time and make yourself, just be as effective as possible and efficient. Like that's your goal of the business. You know what I mean?
100%.
You do an initial consult and then have them do lab work, and then they have to come back so you can review the lab work and start treatment. You just doubled your work. Why would you do that? So
Yeah.
lab work first. That way you can do it all during that first appointment.
Okay.
Like my men's health patients, everybody gets the exact same lab panel. Everybody.
Yeah, you do that the long panel that you talk
The
about.
long panel. Every single person gets that lab panel. Correct. Weight loss, everyone gets a weight loss panel. Everyone gets the same panel. I don't care what your medical history is. I don't care. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, I won't either. I want to see the full panel. Yeah. I'm with my patients now. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. It doesn't matter what their medical history is. It doesn't matter. Everyone gets the same lab order. So have just a bunch of lab orders ready to go, sign off and give it to them,
Perfect. Okay.
Yeah. So,
yeah.
Any other questions?
No, I think that covers it. I've got an EIN, I've got an NPI, I've opened up a business credit card, a couple just to have like a 40K kind of like cushion. I think I just need like an LLC and I did have an LLC question now that I lied to you and said I didn't have any other questions. So here in Mass, the LLC is roughly like $500. And you talk about another state often that, is it Missouri? No, where you should get an LLC because you're protected more.
Wyoming,
yes.
Yeah.
Wyoming.
Okay. Now you're not necessarily protected more from liability.
Finding you, right?
Privacy is pretty much what it is. Correct.
Yeah.
And the state of Wyoming as well. There's never been a piercing of the corporate veil in Wyoming.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So they do have pretty iron tight, protections there. But it doesn't mean you're just completely immune, right? But your privacy is protected as well. No one can find out who you are.
So
that's why I like it.
So LLCs work in the sense of I have to have one in the state and then one in Wyoming as well, right?
No. If you have a brick and mortar practice in Massachusetts, then you're going to need to have an entity there. If you were just doing telemedicine and you were in multiple states, I'd just function out of a Wyoming LLC and call it a day. Okay. You could function out of a Wyoming LLC and operate in Massachusetts, and you'd still have the liability protection, but it's a regulatory thing. You're supposed to have a business entity there in the state. Yeah. So like if the Secretary of State finds out or whatever, it may be slap on the hand, and you have to take care of it. But if I was you, you're seeing your patients, you're still kind of the head honcho.
Yeah.
People know it's your clinic. So like, is protecting your privacy really that big of a deal?
No.
Not really. So just get the Massachusetts one and call it a day. Yeah. Keep it simple right now. Don't complicate it.
Yeah, it's nothing crazy. It's like I think $500 or something.
Yeah, just get it, function out of that, call it a day.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. No, this has been great. I kind of really got a lot of good points here to kind of refocus myself over the next couple months.
Awesome. Well, listen, I like the end of the episode. You asking me a question, personal question, curiosity, something like that. Do you have a question for me?
Yeah. I'm not sure you've answered this in the podcast I've heard, or maybe I might have missed it. Did you start your first practice in a hole in the wall, or?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
It was a grade A shithole. Yeah, like seriously, a blue ribbon shithole, man. I mean, it was like dumpy part of town. Homeless people walk up and down that street all the time. I wouldn't have my wife go there by herself, kind of place.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. But it was like it got me. It was like $500 a month. It was super cheap. Whatever, dude. It worked.
Yeah.
My patients really didn't care that much.
Gotcha.
And we were only there for a year. Then, once I started making some money, and I was like, okay, wow, this business actually is, the real deal. We moved to a better side of town on a main street.
Perfect.
Yep. So now also in that strip that I was at, it was off the road, kind of a crappy part of town. I had my men's health clinic there, and then across the parking lot, I had my medical cannabis clinic, all in the same spot.
Okay, that's awesome.
Yeah, two different offices, two different signs, that kind of a thing. Nobody knew I owned both those practices. Some patients, some of my mental health patients would come in and be like, "Yeah, she had medical cannabis clinic there. I just don't agree with cannabis, and I think it's bad for the state." Blah blah. Yeah, I agree with you.
here's your TRT.
Right, I agree with you. Yeah, and it's like my medical cannabis clinic they're talking shit about.
Yeah. No, I've
Yeah.
been in similar situations.
Yeah. So anyways, man, that's pretty much it, dude. So listen, I appreciate your time, appreciate your patience.
I appreciate you.
Yeah, man. And I hope this helped out. If you ever want to do a follow-up, just let me know.
Absolutely. Thank you so much.
Cool, brother. All right, man. Bye.
Have a good day.
All right, I hope everyone enjoyed the episode with Eric. Interesting episode. Still working as an RN, getting that loan reimbursement, making more money as an RN as he would as an NP. I mean, I don't blame him. I don't blame the guy. I don't blame a lot of people who do that. It's kind of unfortunate that you make more money as an RN than you do as a master or, doctorate prepared nurse practitioner. But that's just kind of the state of things. It is what it is. So he's very wise wanting to start his own business and go down that route at the beginning of his career. It's going to be the fastest path for him to get to financial freedom. I mean, no question about it. I think the big thing here is that, look at your opportunities, right? Is locking yourself into a contract that pays your student loans off, is that worth it? Is the opportunity cost there? Your time, lost opportunity investing in a business, that kind of a thing. In my opinion, I think that these loan reimbursement programs are great if you plan on just being an employed nurse practitioner and that's kind of just your end goal. But if you really want to start a business, my advice is to not sign a contract for student loan reimbursement. They're paying back $60,000, $70,000, $100,000 of student loans over 3 or 4 years. But you have to stay at a job that you might not necessarily like for 3 or 4 years. And that takes your time and your energy away from starting your own business. And I'll tell you, I was able to pay my student loans off very, very fast once I started my men's health clinic, my medical cannabis clinic, and I started making money. I was able to pay my loans off very quick. I'm talking about $80,000 of loans in a period of a year and a half. I just paid that shit off. So keep that in mind, okay? Opportunity costs your time and your energy. It's worth something. So keep that in mind. All right, hope everyone enjoyed this episode. Talk to you guys later. Thanks. Bye. Thank you for listening to the show. Quick legal disclaimer. The content of this podcast is meant for informational and entertainment purposes only and should not be used as legal, financial, medical, regulatory, or practice-specific advice. For information pertaining to your specific legal, financial, medical, or practice-specific needs, please be sure to consult with your lawyer, CPA, medical director, and/or your state's practice laws and the most up-to-date clinical guidelines. As always, do your due diligence when it comes to any information found online and in podcasts. The content in this podcast is copyrighted by Galaxy Medical Southwest 2023 and cannot be duplicated, rebroadcasted, or reproduced without our written permission.